What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for a tier list. We haven't brought you a tier list in a while, and if you cast your mind back to last summer, we brought you a transfer tier list, transfer target tier list, which you all seem to like. So now we're bringing you our manager target tier list. We've got 5 tiers here, so it goes from appoint now, good appointment, solid appointment, underwhelming appointment, and shocking appointment. We've picked out 20 managers to get through, all managers that we have been linked with so far. So yeah, you excited for this one?
Let's do it. I'm ready. Come on. Is only how many we're going to get in point now? Bro, we're not going to appoint the one in a point now. One. Definitely not.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's bring it up on screen. So there you have it. You can see the managers there. You can see the tiers there. And the first man we're going to be talking about is Marcelo Bielsa.
So yeah, obviously, look, he's a good manager. He's done very well at Leeds. He's obviously had a decorated career at a lot of clubs, but he also had the propensity to go wrong. Bielsa, he's a couple of clubs. I remember Lille and Marseille. I think 2 clubs he was at for a very, very short space of time, and ended up leaving very, very early in his tenure.
And
so
with Daniel Levy's track record of managers, then it's bound to go bad at some point, isn't it? With Bielsa.
Yeah. But in terms of what we're looking for, in terms of a manager who can play high-pressing, attacking football, he would suit the bill there. Mm-hmm. But whether he would work in the current, I don't know. Just something.
He seems to be working at Leeds, though.
It is working at Leeds, but at Leeds, they're kind of all pulling in the same direction in terms of they hadn't been promoted in so long. They just needed a manager to get behind. But Spurs, there's different kind of expectations in at Leeds. So whether it would work out or not is another question.
For me, I think in terms of what we're looking for as a manager, this will be a good appointment.
I think it'd be a solid appointment.
Solid. Ooh.
I think it'd be a solid appointment. I don't know if it'll be a good one. I think there's a quite a bit of risk to it. And I think
he's also a manager between the two, to be fair.
He's also a manager that as well as he's done, he hasn't been majorly successful in Europe. His most success has been in South America.
Yeah.
So whether he comes to Spurs and then all of a sudden he's going to get us to where we need to be, I'm not so sure.
With his job he's done at Leeds, obviously a job that not many managers or no manager have been able to do since Leeds have got relegated. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but last year in the Premier League, they seemed to improve throughout the season.
True.
They really improve throughout the season. So in terms of the job he's done at Leeds, I think he's proved that he can do it in the Premier League. I think that's been proved. So that's why I would put it as a good
you'd have to say he has to do it because sometimes, you've got to say as well, sometimes teams who come up to Premier League, they have a good season, and then they fall away second season.
Maybe,
so you got
maybe more will tell next season. But the way I look at it is that they had this lung-busting first half of the season where they would go toe-to-toe with any team. They either got battered or battered any team. But then second half of the season, they really started to shore up the defence and started to get consistent results, didn't they?
Yeah, true. They did they kind of changed where they were playing. So,
look, I think it's somewhere in between solid and good. You know what I mean? So it's which way do you want to go? Well, I think it's at the lower end of good appointment for Bielsa.
So put him as solid.
All right, we'll put him as solid. All right, Bielsa goes into solid appointment. There. Next up is Antonio Conte.
So look, we're talking about one of the best managers in Europe right now. Just won the Serie A with Inter Milan after a good first season as well. Won the league at Chelsea not so long ago. I mean, in terms of manager, it's hard to sniff at him, but in terms of what the Tottenham DNA and all that kind of stuff, he doesn't quite fit with that. So he's definitely not underwhelming or shocking or solid. He's either good or a point now. I'd be tempted to do him a point now just because he's on a free and he wouldn't cost anything. And to get one of the best managers a free one at him if he's willing to come is one issue. And he could definitely sort out a lot of the deadwood in the squad. But I think that all the issues he could potentially bring makes him a bit of a risk.
Yeah, that's why I would put him in good, just because he comes with caveats. That's for sure, as Jose Mourinho did. But I think that he's a guy that will tell a lot of players home truths, and what our players react to like that. Obviously, there's no getting away of his managerial kind of nous, because he is one of the best managers in the game right now. There's no two ways about it. But I just feel that maybe it just wouldn't be suited to Spurs. So
doesn't seem like a natural fit right now. I
Yeah.
think Stan, just
that's why
because
I'll just put it in good.
we're kind of we're just in a bit of a mess, and we need someone to build. And I'm not sure Conte is the kind of manager who likes to build. He likes to come into a team with a few tweaks, and then go for the title. And would he be frustrated at Tottenham if we're not in a title challenge? Might be.
I'd put it good.
All right, I'll put him in good.
All right, Conte, you go into good. Next up is Graham Potter. I'll let you take this one away.
I think he would be a good appointment. I think he would be a good appointment right now.
The thing is, I think Bielsa would be a better appointment than Graham Potter.
I think Potter actually might be a better appointment than Bielsa, just because I think his football, despite it not being as high intense, he still he focuses a lot more on like possession based football, and it might be a lot more suited to our players, because I feel like at the moment the high pressing system, we've tried it with a couple of managers and we just don't seem to press very effectively with the players we have.
But either way, we're going to need a rebuild whoever comes in.
I know, but I feel like with the players we have at the moment, I think Potter will have the ability to get them dominating matches and playing good football, rather than Bielsa, who might get them trying to press intensely when they're not up to it in a way. So I think that's why maybe Potter might be better suited at the moment. And I think his job at Brighton's been solid. I think he's done a really good job there. I think it's underrated, and I think he gets them playing really good football. So I'd put him in good, but it is a bit of a risk because he obviously hasn't managed at a club bigger than Brighton yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's, to be honest, if for me, comparing the two, Bielsa and Potter, I prefer Bielsa, but I get what you're saying in terms of the high pressing game. Yes, our team aren't suited to it anymore, but on the flip side of that, yes, we do need a rebuild. So maybe it depends on what manager comes in, if they can get their own players and what have you. So if both managers come in and get their own players, because if both managers need a massive rebuild. Mm-hmm. Any manager that comes in needs a rebuild, so they can mould the team in their image. So if I wanted a team moulded in Potter's image or Bielsa's image, I'd rather it be in Bielsa's image, if
That's
that makes
fair
sense.
Enough. Yeah, true.
So for me, I would have put Bielsa in kind of low good and Conte in high good, and I would put kind of Potter in high solid. That would be mine.
So put him in solid then. All right, solid appointment.
Potter in solid alongside Bielsa. Next, Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Another manager who's done decent at Southampton. I think he's got them again playing some good high pressing football, but he's a very streaky manager, isn't he? Despite he'd done well at Leipzig, when he's been at Southampton, it's either been really, really good or really, really bad for him at times. And I feel like, I don't know if it's, I think the job at Spurs might be too big for him. I don't think it would be a shocking appointment, but he would be a bit underwhelming, I think.
Look, I mean, Hasenhüttl, for me, it wouldn't be, I agree, it wouldn't be a shocking appointment, but it would be very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. Not much more to say on it. Look, he gets Southampton playing well sometimes, but they're completely an open shop pretty much every game. Yeah. They've lost 9-0 twice under him.
It wouldn't be the kind of, I feel like we'd be far too open, and the defenders we have, if like at the moment anyway, I don't think they can handle it. All the pressure will be put on them, and I can't see us challenging with Hasenhüttl in charge. All right. So I'll put him in underwhelming. Yeah,
I agree. Next up is Eddie Howe. Obviously, he was heavily linked with the Celtic job. That's all fallen through this week. Mm-hmm. Eddie Howe it's a hard one to call because he's only really managed Bournemouth. Mm-hmm. And obviously, he took them from very low to secured them in Premier League for a while. Then obviously, they went down together. So
yeah, but he did keep them up for a while.
He did.
To be fair.
He did. And to keep Bournemouth up for a while is
for
a
like
massive,
4 years.
Yeah, it's a major achievement for a club like Bournemouth to be in the Premier League that long. So you can't sniff at Eddie Howe and say he's a bad manager, but can he kind of succeed at a club like Tottenham? I don't know.
Also, he went to Burnley. He was started at Bournemouth, did really well, then went to Burnley for like a year and really didn't do well. Really badly failed at Burnley.
The thing is, the Burnley DNA is completely the opposite to what Eddie Howe football is.
I know, but it's only really been that DNA like under Sean Dyche. It hasn't always been the Burnley DNA. So he had an opportunity, I guess, Eddie Howe at Burnley to prove that he can. Like sometimes a club just fit a manager, and I think Eddie Howe was a player at Bournemouth. I think he was a captain there, and I think everything just seemed to work. Like for him at Bournemouth, it was like a perfect combination. definitely big question marks about whether he can move to a different club and get that same kind of cohesion with the fans, the players, and the managers. So definitely big question marks there. Obviously, he definitely got Bournemouth playing good football, and he got them playing consistently good football with a very also not a great amount of transfer business as well. He was able to do that on a shoestring.
From those waste of spaces from Liverpool.
Yeah, John Nybe and what was his name? Solanke, all these people, big flops. So he's
spent quite a bit of money there at the end.
He actually, to be honest, his biggest failures were money. So would I trust him with a transfer kitty? Probably not. Do I say he's a shocking appointment? No, but definitely underwhelming.
I completely agree. Next up is Lopetegui.
Done well at Sevilla. Nearly got them involved in a bit of a title challenge this year. I mean, obviously they fell away a bit, but they finished top 4 and not far off Atletico in first, winning Europa League last season. So he's done well. Had a good record in the Spain manager as well before the whole madness with Madrid and him getting appointed to Madrid and then him going to Madrid and being sacked after a few months after a really bad start. So I think he would be a good appointment, to be fair. I really like Lopetegui. I think he's a very good manager and he's proven at Sevilla that he definitely has the chops at a big European club to do well. So I think he'd be a good appointment. Plays good attacking football as well. So knows Reguilon very well as well.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of his manager role at Sevilla, yes, he's done very well winning Europa Leagues and what have you. But what's he been like in the league? Yeah, I know they finished 4th most of the time, but not much competition for the top 4 in Spain.
Oh, that's harsh.
Is it?
I think you got Villarreal who won Europa League. They finished.
Yeah, but they finished 7th.
Yeah, I know, but they're there. You know what I mean? So
they're not a good team, Villarreal, though.
To say there's not much competition, I don't know. I think there's a lot of good teams in Spain.
I don't think so. I think the top 4, there's no one really fighting for that top 4 except for who's finished in the top 4, like for a realistic chance, surely.
I don't know.
Like, you've got Barca, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Sevilla. They're the 4 teams.
Sociedad have been solid for the past couple of years. Betis have been solid as well.
Yeah, they have been solid, but they're nowhere on the stature of Sevilla. Those teams.
Look, I think up until I think it was 2 games to go or so, or 3 games to go, they were still in the title race.
Yeah.
So I think he did a good job, and I don't think it's that as easy as you could say to get top 4 in La Liga. Sevilla, they've dropped out more than enough times, so I think he's done a very good job there, and he won Europa League last year. So, although I think
again, Unai Emery's a Europa League king, so
I think Unai Emery's a good manager.
Would you take him at Spurs?
No, but I think he's a good manager.
So where would Unai Emery go on there for you?
Unai Emery, he would have to be underwhelming just because of what he did at Arsenal.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I'm not sold on Lopetegui. I'm not sold on him.
I think he'd be a good appointment.
I think he would be underwhelming.
Underwhelming?
Yeah.
I think that's harsh. I think that's very harsh on Lopetegui. You know, and I know that it didn't work out with Spain, but he did get the Spanish job for a reason because he was doing very well.
Yeah.
And obviously Madrid was a disaster. Absolute disaster. But I think he's come back. I think he's come back from that with Sevilla. So
I mean, his only good job in management has been Sevilla. Pretty much.
And I think he did well at Spain.
You just said he didn't do too well.
No, with the Spain job, he did well up until what happened was he took the Madrid job, and then they sacked him because leading into a World Cup because he took the job. Without them knowing or something like that. Mm-hmm. But he actually did a good job with Spain. Okay. So I don't know. I think he's proven. I think he's bounced back from that Madrid disaster, and he's done a really good job with Sevilla. So I don't know. I think he'd be a good, but I definitely think he's better than underwhelming.
All right, look, you're saying good. I'm saying underwhelming. So we have to settle on solid.
All right, solid then.
We'll settle Lopetegui on solid. Jurgen Klinsmann.
I mean, romantically, like, he would be a great appointment, wouldn't he? But how long has he been out of management for?
A while.
Since Berlin. Oh, not that long ago, February 2020. But he was only manager for 10 games in Berlin.
Yeah, I don't think you can really count that.
And so he was then manager before that was for the US.
He did well for the US. He did do well for the US. He was only at Bayern Munich for a year, and then before that he was at Germany for a couple of years. Doesn't seem to stick around too long, apart from at the US. For me,
he would have to be underwhelming. Maybe even shocking.
I think he'd be in shocking.
It's harsh.
It's hard to put Klinsmann in there. I know.
Why are they forcing us to do this? You're putting us in this position.
But unfortunately,
who made this tier list?
Unfortunately, it has to be there.
Yeah, I think so. He would be a shocking appointment. Like he's
Sorry
got no.
to do you like this, Jurgen.
His best job's been in international management. Whenever he's had a club management, he's never done great. So, like, he would be a pretty bad opponent. But then again, the only thing that I would say that maybe he might do well is because he's such a Tottenham legend, maybe he can get, like, he could have that aura about him. He would get the fans on side, potentially.
He would get the fans on side, but I think it could tarnish his reputation.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's hard to disagree with that. It is hard to disagree, so I can't think it would be anything but a disastrous appointment.
All right, Klinsmann, you are going into shocking, unfortunately. Nuno Espirito Santo. Obviously just left Wolves. He will be no compensation added for this one. Not really the football we want.
Definitely not. I don't think he's a bad manager. I just don't think he would do well at Tottenham. His free to back system can show quite dull football at times, and despite him being he can definitely coach a very solid unit. We've seen that. They're always hard to play against Wolves, and even if they're in bad form. You know, when they're in bad form, it's because they're losing games 1-0 all the time or 2-1. It's not because they're getting battered. But unfortunately, I think he did go a bit wrong near the end for Nuno, and obviously he's been burnt out, and I don't think he'd be the right man for Spurs. I reckon he if we got him, we could probably challenge for top 6, but I can't see us challenging for top 4 under him. Like, I don't think we would like fall away and be like a bottom half team, but I think we would struggle. It'll be a similar season. I think it would be like 6th or 7th, something like that, if we could point to him.
In terms of what you're saying, that you're putting him into shocking.
Between shocking and underwhelming, probably.
I think he's at the lower end of underwhelming,
yeah,
or maybe mid-tier underwhelming.
I mean, thinking about Hasenhüttl, Eddie Howe, and Nuno, I'd definitely prefer Hasenhüttl and Howe to Nuno. So I think it'd have to go to shocking, I guess.
Shocking.
It's harsh. It is harsh, but I think for us, he would be a shocking appointment.
All right, we'll put him in shocking. Nuno goes into shocking. Scott Parker.
I mean, got promoted to a Fulham, then got relegated to a Fulham. I think with the position he put them in, I think it was a bit of a bad performance, to be honest, to get relegated, because he got them so close to the other teams, and then he fell away really, really badly at the end of the season. I actually rated Fulham's squad by the end of it, not too badly. So I don't think it would be a very good appointment.
As it stands, his experience is nowhere near good enough for Tottenham, so it has to go in shocking.
Like, why we're appointing on the back of him used to play for us. If he was not a former Tottenham player, we wouldn't even, let's be honest, we wouldn't consider him. We wouldn't consider him.
I like the work Scott Parker was doing, and I said throughout the season, I can see him being a future Tottenham manager, but he needs a lot more experience before he
If his name's Lee Catamar, are you considering him?
No.
So there you go. That says all you need to say, really.
Yeah.
So I think it just goes in shocking appointment. I can't see him being a good appointment for Tottenham right now. He's way too early in his career, and I feel like he's got a lot of learning to do.
All right, Scott Parker goes into shocking. The next man is the main man, Maurizio Pochettino.
Appoint him now.
Yeah, exactly.
Appoint that man now. He's the one I want. He's the one that I want.
So Poch goes into a point now.
Yeah. He's just the what he look. He's everything
we want. Too many roadblocks though. It's killing me.
Too many. As Alistair Gold new update saying PSG are putting roadblocks in place. But look, he's the manager which I think fits the bill. We want a manager in the mold of Pochettino, so why not Pochettino? I know he hasn't won anything, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff, but we wouldn't have such high expectations if it wasn't for Poch. People don't even realise that he's the reason that we expect to be challenging for top 4 and expect to be
correct
all these things.
Yeah.
It's because of Pochettino, and I'm so desperate to him to come back. We should never have sacked him. It was the biggest mistake to sack him. We should have listened to him when we said we wanted a rebuild. He proved it wasn't just 1 year or 2 years that he proved his worth. It was 4, 5 years. Every single year he proved his worth. He proved what he can bring. He overachieved year on year on year, and it was Tottenham's fault that they didn't back him, they didn't listen to him, and they didn't refresh the squad, and they didn't help him. They kept tying his hands behind his back, and unfortunately, it all fell apart. But it didn't fall apart because of Poch. It fell apart because of the tools he was given, and that's the fact. So I think bring him back, and I think he can get the fans on side. He plays attacking football, and hopefully he's the man. I definitely back the rebuild squad.
At the end of the day, they're looking for a manager in the mould of Pochettino. So what better than the man himself?
Exactly. So appoint him now for me.
Next up is Rafa Benitez. This is going to be an interesting one.
Another manager who obviously did well at Newcastle, has done well throughout his career. I don't think, again, I think he's a good manager, and I think he's got. I do think though, he was at his peak. I don't think he's been as good as he was when he was at Liverpool. Since Liverpool. Like, I know he won Europa at Chelsea. Yeah. He went to Inter Milan. He wasn't very good at Inter Milan. He did a decent job at Newcastle.
He knows the Premier League, Rafa.
He does. He did a decent job at Newcastle.
What was his job like at Napoli?
Napoli, he wasn't that great. He wasn't that great at Napoli. Real
Madrid.
He took over from. He had like Cavani, Lavezzi, that Hamzik, that team, and he didn't do that well with it. He took over, and they kind of started to decline a bit.
Every job he's had in the Premier League, he's done a decent job. Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle.
You gotta say Newcastle did a good job, but like Steve Bruce has pretty much done a similar job to him. Like it's not. They've both finished mid-table, haven't they? So. Again, I don't think he's a bad manager, and I think if he came to Spurs, he would make us very difficult to play against, and people won't like playing against us. And I reckon he could get us in the conversation for top 4, but would he take us to that next level? I don't think so.
I think he would be like lower end of solid.
Yeah, I think he'd be a solid appointment. I don't think he would be a disaster, but I do think he would. I don't think he would do great at Spurs.
All right. Solid for Rafa Benitez. Now, this is an interesting one, is Ralf Rangnick.
Ralf Rangnick.
I've been saying all along, this guy is not a manager. He's a sporting director. He's a director of football. That's what he is. If you're going to bring him in, you bring him in with a manager. You don't bring him in as manager, and that was backed up by Martin Jol.
But if he is looking to get back into management, I know he hasn't managed for a while. He managed, the last management job he did was Leipzig. And he actually didn't do badly there. You know, he brought them when he brought them up, and I think he got them in challenging for Champions League and stuff like that. So his last management job wasn't bad. He was actually manager when Schalke had that semi-final run to the Champions League when we got to the quarters in our first year. So that's like a decade ago, really. He was manager of Schalke then, if you remember that famous Schalke team. Mm-hmm. So the last management role he did was actually not bad. And if he is actually...
A while ago, though.
Huh?
It's a while ago now.
No, 2019.
Oh, was that then?
Yeah, Leipzig. I'm saying 2 years ago. So it wasn't that long ago.
I'm talking about a while ago, the Schalke job.
The Schalke job was a while ago. His last manager, he was a year at Leipzig.
Yeah.
2 years when we got to that Champions League final, that run. So he didn't actually do badly when he was there. So if he does...
just took them up to a new level, though, didn't he?
Yeah. So if he is looking to get back into management full time and is looking for a long-term project, then maybe he wouldn't be as bad as people think. If that's what his focus is, it's a massive risk, because in the last decade he's had 3 roles: the Schalke one, which he wasn't there for long, and then he's been at Leipzig twice. We brought them up to the Bundesliga, and then he had another role. He took over from Hasenhüttl and kept them in the Champions League.
It's worth noting that Chelsea were in talks with him, but only for a short-term role, and he wasn't interested in that.
Yeah, because he wanted a long-term role. He wanted to be there long-term. So there are people in Germany, I've read articles of people in Germany who said if Tottenham do appoint him as manager, it could be an inspired choice, which people, which could come from left field, which could be inspired. But ultimately, we just don't know how he's going to perform as manager. Ultimately, it's so much of a risk. So it's so difficult to rank him as good or appoint now. Right, because you can't really do it, because we don't know how we can't know nothing to go on much apart from his good season at Leipzig.
And can we say he's going to be a solid?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
So it's impossible to say with this one. Shall we just put him in solid for argument's sake? Because I don't think he would be underwhelming or shocking, because it would be quite an exciting appointment.
I think he could be a potentially exciting appointment, because he's like the Gegenpress. He's known as like the father of the Gegenpress, and so many managers learn under him. So he could bring another element to Spurs.
That have won the Champions League all learnt under him.
Yeah, Klopp, Tuchel,
and who was the other one? Klopp,
Flick.
Tuchel, and Flick. I don't know if Flick did, but I know the other two did.
Definitely. So he could be a guy who, and also all the top managers, all the top German managers apparently have learned a lot from a lot of his disciples, basically. So he could be one to develop a real philosophy at Tottenham, which could be potentially exciting. But whether he still has the chops to be like, look, this guy, his first management job was in 1985.
Wow. Before I was
85.
born. Before I was born.
That's a long time ago. That's 35 years ago, nearly 36 years ago. So, like, we don't. It's not possible to know if he still has it in him.
Shall we put him in solid? Because I'm struggling to find.
We'll
where
put him
he
in
fits.
solid. We'll put him in solid.
Struggling to find where he fits. All right. The next one is Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers for me probably goes in a point now. To be fair,
I despite the fact that he kind of look, he's done a great job at Leicester, but
Tottenham DNA, he bottles it every year.
Exactly, he has
won the
bottled
FA
it
Cup
last
this
2
year.
years. He has bottled it last 2 years.
Won
though,
the FA Cup this year though.
He did win the FA Cup, which is fair enough. Fair play, and he got a top 4 challenge in there as well. But to be so far ahead in both seasons and to fall away both times, it's very.
For me, he plays football the way we want to see it. Not only that, but he can change up his style as well, as and when needed. He knows the Premier League very well. Obviously, got a title challenge with Liverpool back in what year was it?
2014, yeah.
2014. I think that he went to Celtic and obviously did an outstanding job there, and you see how they're suffering without him right now. And I think Leicester, he's done a great job there with Leicester so far. 2 top 4 challenges. Yes, he hasn't made it both times it looked like they were nailed on for the top 4. Granted, that's the downsides, but he has won an FA Cup with Leicester the first time in their history.
True. I
think Brendan Rodgers would be a brilliant appointment.
All right, we'll put him in a point now.
Brendan
a point now.
Into a point now. Oh, here we go. Roberto Martinez. I'm just saying shocking right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think his defensive work has been so much to be desired. And, he's still living off that one. I know he won the FA Cup with Wigan, which is incredible achievement. We did get relegated in the same season. And then he went to Everton. Final, he did be sitting in the final. He went to Everton, had one good season, then completely fell away. And he somehow waggled his way into the Belgium job. He did get to the semi-finals of the World Cup, but I feel like with their squad, he's kind of underachieved because he had a golden era at Belgium, and he's kind of let it fall by the wayside a bit. I feel like that golden era might be coming to an end a bit now. And I feel like Martinez could have done a lot more with that. He should at least have one. He could have easily had one international trophy to his name with that. So I think Roberto Martinez, if he came to Spurs, I reckon he can get us playing decent football. We would have a very, very soft underbelly, I think. And I think
he would get us in the top 6, but not in the top 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think
shocking appointment for me.
I think it'd be a shocking appointment.
Southgate.
I actually think it would be shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's harsh because again, he's done well with England, but Middlesbrough he didn't do great. He got them relegated. And that's his only club job he's had. And then I don't know how he did for the under-21s. I don't think he did very well for the England under-21s.
I'm not too sure, to be honest. But look, I think people say he's done a good job with England, but I think he's done an all right job with England. I don't think it's been that amazing.
The only thing I would say, which maybe could be decent, is obviously we have a few English players, so he could have a good relationship with them and he'll know them well.
None of which he's picked for this Euros.
Which is also true. Could he convince Kane to stay? I don't think so. And the football he plays, I think he's got such a plethora of attacking talent and he fails to get the best out of them a lot of the time for England. So from that point of view, yes, at the World Cup, he got us playing that three at the back system, which was working for us. But since then, apart from that really good win against Spain in the Nations League, I think it was the Nations League, I don't know, there haven't been that many impressive results for him. So
did he beat Belgium in the Nations League quite recently as well?
Belgium?
Yeah.
Did we beat Belgium? I think we lost and won. I think we lost and won. So, yeah, that's true. But I think when push comes to shove, we always get found wanting, and it really matters.
I agree.
The crunch games.
I'll put him in shocking anyway.
All right, shocking appointment for Southgate.
Steven Gerrard. It's very interesting because obviously he's only had one job, but that job he's done absolutely astonishingly well.
Yeah, unbeaten all season, hasn't he? Went the whole season unbeaten with Rangers.
Went the whole season unbeaten.
So that was good. But
ended many years of Celtic dominance in Scotland. Obviously, he got them up from the Championship in Scotland as well, didn't he?
Did he?
I'm asking.
I don't think he did.
Oh,
I think he was already a Premier League team when the Scottish Premier League team when he appointed them. So when he got appointed, so I don't think he got the promoted. It's only 1 year, no?
Oh, is this his first year? I
No,
thought he's been there 2 years.
Second year. Steven Gerrard? Yeah, I think second year. I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right. So
he joined in 2018.
yeah, so 3 years he's been there now, has he?
Yeah. So go on. Where do you reckon he goes?
Oh, it's a tough one. Where would I put Gerrard? I think he'd be a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think it'd be an underwhelming appointment. I think it's all geared up for him to his next job be Liverpool, to be honest, to take over from Klopp in a few years' time. But I think for Spurs right now, the job is very, very big. And I think it would be a bit too big for him right now.
I agree, underwhelming. Steven Gerrard goes into there. Eric Ten Hag.
Maybe he could be our second good appointment.
Yeah. I mean, he comes with a big risk, doesn't he, Ten Hag? Massive risk, in my opinion.
He does. But
Plays football the way that it needs to be played, or the way that we want it to be played. Obviously, got to the semi-finals of the Champions League with that Ajax team that we knocked out, obviously. But I think that there's always question marks over these Dutch managers that do so well in Holland coming over here. Always. Remember Frank de Boer?
Yeah.
Did great in Holland with Ajax as well. And he came here and he was gone by 8 games and didn't score 1 goal.
Yeah, that was bad. That was very bad. So...
But I don't know if it's just lazy to compare Ten Hag and De Boer.
It is a bit lazy, but Ten Hag, I think his coaching with Ajax was absolutely brilliant. You saw the way they played football in that run to the semi-finals, and it was they were dominating teams much better than them.
Sensational team, didn't they? You know, all these players are at top teams right now. Frankie de Jong, Ziyech, De Ligt, all of them.
Yeah, it's true.
Top clubs right now.
Yeah, but he also had he brought the best LP players like Dusan Tadic and people like that who players maybe who Southampton cast aside. Yet he was starring in a Champions League run. So I think the way he coached that team was brilliant, and I think if he could coach the Spurs team to play and dominate football matches like that, it could be very beneficial to us. So I think he could be a very, very good appointment for us. I really do. I don't think he'd be in a point now just because of the risk, but I do think he'd be a good appointment.
All right, I agree with that. Ten Hag goes into good. Final 3 managers now. Next up is Thomas Frank of Brentford. Just recently got promoted of the 3rd time of asking, I think it was.
Yeah, because 2 playoffs, haven't they?
He's come close very often. Twice in a row he came close. Finally did it the weekend. I mean, for me, it would be probably shocking, to be honest.
You think it'll be shocking? I think it'll just be underwhelming. I think he's a good manager. I tell you why, because the way Brentford have been continually losing their best players, yet replacing them year on year on year, and always improving, always getting better, despite losing Watkins, Andre Gray, all their top strikers all the time. They're always losing their top players, yet they're replacing them with a good scouting network, and he's always developing his team to improve. And it doesn't matter who they replace, he knows who he's going to get. His scouting network is clearly very, very strong, and I think if he can bring some of them with him to Spurs and then implement that good attacking style of play he's implemented.
Ivan Toney looks a baller, doesn't he?
I mean, look, I think
how good was he on the weekend?
Brilliant, but I think they're a very well-run club, and I think he knows what he's doing. But unfortunately, because of just the sheer nature of the jump in from Brentford to Tottenham is just such different. You can't compare those jobs. So he's doing very well for Brentford, but would he do that well for Tottenham? I don't know. But I don't think he'd be shocking. I think it'd be underwhelming. All
right, we'll put him in underwhelming. I'll agree with that. All right, here we go. Last 2 managers. Louis van Gaal.
Louis van Gaal. Now, that would be a shocking appointment. Last job
Louis' Army.
Last job was at Man United.
He was our first choice to poach.
He was. We never very nearly got him. Only Man United stole him away from us, and they'll probably be regretting that to this day. But
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. I think he hasn't had a job since. I don't know if he's looking for work. Reportedly, he is. And I like, although at Man United he got top four and won the FA Cup, the football was so bad, and they're only declining as well. And I think he's a manager as well in his 70s. He's just a bit past it. So I think Van Gaal's time has gone.
I don't even know why he's linked with us, to be honest.
I don't know. Just is somehow.
Just because we were linked with him under Poch, just before we got Poch. So they thought, why not throw a spanner in the works? But last but not least, we're going to look at Zinedine Zidane.
Just free from a...
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to say it up straight. He goes into good because you can't knock what he's done at Real Madrid. 4 Champions League wins.
How many titles?
Yeah, 2 league titles I think he's done. Obviously, I think it remains to be seen how he would do at a team like Tottenham, at a club like Tottenham, where he could have a few financial constraints. But from what he's done at Real Madrid, it's nothing to be sniffed at. I think he's done a top job at Real Madrid. So I think he goes straight into good. But he does come with his risks, obviously.
Did they win 2 league titles in a row? I think because he won it in 16-17, and then he took over again from Lopetegui. After resigning, and I think who won the La Liga last season? Was it Madrid?
Last season was Madrid, I think.
And then the season before that was also Madrid, was it, or was it Barca?
I'm telling you right now, what
in 18-19 was that Madrid or Barca that season?
Well, he's only won 3 Champions Leagues.
Yeah, but it was 3 consecutive ones.
3 consecutive Champions Leagues. He's won 2 Spanish Super Cups. He's won 2 UEFA Super Cups. 2 World Club Cups, 2 Spanish champions. He's won it twice, 19-20 and 16-17.
Okay, so who won it in 18-19 then? It must have been Barca. Must have been Barca.
He's won 2 world best club coaches. Look, he's got to go in good. He can't go into solid, can he?
Yeah, I think as well he's shown despite a lot of restrictions, like with Ronaldo going and stuff, he's proven he can still tactically outmaneuver a lot of the teams in the league, and to win the league last season was very impressive. Although he didn't win it this year, I think we can look at the Madrid team. We can all see that it's not as good as it used to be, and yet he's still. Although they've fallen away in the Champions League, he's still challenging for titles and stuff in La Liga, and he did win it last year.
It's criminal for any Real Madrid team, no matter what they got there, to not challenge for the title.
Yes, but Lopetegui came in and he got sacked after, I think, very early on, and he kind of rallied the troops and got them back into the Champions League after it looked like they could very well miss out under Lopetegui for that small amount of time. And I think, and he won the league the season after. It looked like they weren't going to be anywhere near it. So I think he's done a great job, but he said he left Madrid because he felt like they didn't have the trust in him anymore, and they didn't believe in him, and like there were rumours always about him being sacked if they lose this game or not. So he decided to just resign again, and that's twice he's resigned at Madrid. But I think you got to say he would be a good appointment, and obviously he would surely have the respect of the players if he came in. You'd have to think so.
If you don't respect Zidane, who are you going to respect?
Definitely. So that's our tier list, I guess. All
right, so let me run through the tiers for you. Let's start off from top to bottom. In shocking appointment, we've got Jurgen Klinsmann, Nuno Santos. We've got Scott Parker, Roberto Martinez, Gareth Southgate and Louis van Gaal. In underwhelming, we've got Ralph Hasenhüttl, Eddie Howe, Steven Gerrard and Thomas Frank. In solid, we've got Bielsa, Potter, Lopetegui, Benitez and Rangnick. In good appointment, we've got Conte, Ten Hag and Zidane. And in point now, we've got Pochettino and Brendan Rodgers.
I think people get on us for putting Conte in good and Rodgers in.
Yeah, I know. They definitely will. But I think it's a case of, first of all, style of play, because everyone's been complaining about the style of play under Mourinho, and Conte is going to bring a similar style of play, isn't he? So
yeah, I guess you could argue that.
Everyone kind of dug into Mourinho for his man management skills and whatever. And yes, I think it does predate kind of Conte's man management skills, but Conte is also one to pick on players and to call players out in the press and what have you. So you're fighting a similar battle there with Conte.
It's true. It's just about being the right fit for the club, and Rodgers is probably just a bit of a better fit for Tottenham.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, there you have it. That is our manager tier list. Let me know in the comment section below where you would put each of these managers and if there are any managers that we have missed out on. But we have put Maurizio Pochettino in a point now and Brendan Rodgers in a point now. So we'll have to see how this transfer or this manager saga does play out. But that is our manager tier list. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.